I had the privilege of hanging out with Andy Erwin, who is one of the directors, producers of I Can Only Imagine, the Bart Millard story about the song. They produced Woodlawn. They produced American Icon, Mom's Night Out. There, right in the vein of Christian films, and it's just awesome to hang out with you. A matter of fact, early on when we got our Facebook page going, their mom commented on one of our posts and said, maybe I can get my boys to help you. So it was awesome. I told John that he had the same reaction. He's like, oh man, Mom's all over Facebook.
Yeah. I just need to go ahead and give her a job.
Yeah, right. But the thing is, I really just wanted one question to ask you about the filmmaking journey. What it's like to come from concept to opening that night. I mean, that's...
Yeah, I think it's you know, with making a film, you're exchanging for that a minimum of 2 years of your life. Sometimes it's upwards of 10 years of your life to see a story come about. So that's what I encourage people to do as filmmakers: is don't go after a message that you feel like is marketable. Go after a story that you're passionate about. And so, you know, when you find a story that really ignites your soul like that, the message will be firmly in there.
Yeah.
Because what excites my soul is redemption. And so if it doesn't have that in its DNA, it's not worth the exchange of 2 years of my life. But when I find a story like that, you hold on to it with everything you got.
Yeah.
So, you know, for instance, Woodlawn, when we did Woodlawn, that story was a story that I heard growing up as a bedtime story. My dad was involved with the Woodlawn football team when he was just out of college, and so the character that Sean Astin plays in the movie is a conglomerate character of my dad and a local evangelist that he worked for, and so that was one that I was deeply passionate about. John was too, and so we always said we wanted to get into film because one day we wanted to do the Woodlawn football story, and you know, to see that kind of through, and the pain that it took to kind of get to that point, and then, you know, the challenge of making a film, because no film wants to be made. You have to kind of just, you know, through the grace of God, will it into existence, and then to see it finished, and to sit and watch my father and Tony Nathan, the movie's based on, watch it together for the first time, and both men be absolutely in tears afterwards. It's worth it. I think, you know, when we did I Can Only Imagine, our newest film, Dennis Quaid, when he watched it, said, "This is a story about how God does His miracles the hard way sometimes," and so I feel like it's a story that ignited my soul, and so it's worth it when you see something like that. The ability to start with a blank sheet of paper, and then one day see it on the screen and sit in a theater with 500 people engaging with the story, watching it completely brought to life.
Yeah.
It's the most magic thing in the universe, I feel like, is storytelling. You know, and I think it's something that excites the soul of God, because Jesus was a master storyteller. And he captivated a crowd with his stories, and he engaged hearts. And, you know, when people walked with him on the road to Emmaus after resurrection, they said, "Didn't our hearts burn within us?" You know, and so I feel like when Jesus told stories, people just, their hearts ignited. And to be able to even taste a fraction of that, and to see God continue that method of storytelling, I think it's the most powerful opportunity for evangelism in the history of the world.
Wow, yeah.
So the system that's in place, the infrastructure for getting movies around the world now, is the opportunity to spread the gospel like never before. With a medium that is translated by a system automatically into every language that has a local theater. And so I feel like God's on the move, and it's worth the journey. And when you find a story that is worth exchanging that amount of your life for, hold on to it with everything you got, because it's worth it.
Yeah. So far we have about 175 investors. We're going to need a whole lot more at this pace.
Yeah.
There are folks that say, why does it cost $1 million to make a movie? You know? How do you help people understand that?
You know, until you've been on a movie set and kind of seen the, you know, I think a lot of people, because of the microwave society where things are instant, they don't see the tremendous amount of process that it takes to make a movie, the massive army that it takes.
Right.
Every time I step onto a film set, and I see the massive size of the crew and the footprint of the army it takes to make a film, I always want to run and lock myself in the trailer because I'm like, who's in charge here? And it takes a large army to kind of put the film together, and then the more complex the concept, the bigger that gets. And so, yeah, I remember back when we did music videos, we were like, you know, $1 million, that we could do anything with $1 million
Right.
in that. And then we did Woodlawn, and it cost 13. And so, you know, it's just it takes a lot of money. It's an expensive medium, and it's also a time-consuming thing.
Mm-hmm.
So from the point where we write the first words on the script until it comes out in the theater is a minimum of 2 years of work, nonstop work, and it's a lengthy process, but it's a worthwhile investment.
Yeah.
You know, it has a potential for a double bottom line, both for your investors being able to, you know, it's a risky investment, but when it works, it can be a very lucrative investment. But the double bottom line is people that are able to change culture in the process and tell people about Christ.
Right.
And so it's a worthwhile investment, not just for this, but for kingdom endeavors.
And really, I think you would probably agree, movies, media, but specifically films, are really what drives the worldview of our entire country.
It is. So rather than, as Christians, just kind of sitting down and pouting about the fact we've kind of lost our voice within culture when it comes to this medium, I think you can say that's absolutely a playbook that we can use for the gospel. Mm-hmm. To be able to speak a language that allows us to help encourage our ideas of redemption and what Jesus Christ can do for us. And so it's my hope that we would use that for evangelism, to look at strategies that have been done with other groups and say, as Christians, we can either rail against people or we can see a strategy that works and engage culture. And I feel like this is the opportunity at hand.
Well, thanks for spending a second with us. Thanks for encouraging the folks that are joining my team to help me get down the field. And I know you've got a team of your own, and it's been quite a journey for you guys. So thanks for sharing a little bit with us today.
Absolutely, John.
All right. KindKatie.com is where you can find all the information about the film. And again, thank you so much to Andy Erwin for his time today.